Good morning and welcome to the Brick by Brick podcast with Ronald Pauleus, where we believe that success isn't built in a moment, but is built through daily disciplines, deep vision, and brick by brick faithfulness. I'm your host, Ronald Pauleus, and I am building. I want to talk to you today about this idea that has changed the world for me in so many ways. Big dreams require bigger rooms. Big dreams require bigger rooms. Let's talk about why your environment might be the thing that's limiting your elevation and how to step into rooms that would stretch your mindset and prepare you to build something world changing. Here's the first problem. You can't build a skyscraper in a space designed for a storage shed. Yeah. The weight of the skyscraper will crush that space. You have great vision, great dreams, but you're in rooms filled with people with smaller vision, limited thinking, people more committed to comfort than they are to great, glorious purpose. You won't be a real lion if you are still hanging out in the zoo. Now, the lions we see at the zoo, they're nice and they're tame and they're well fed, but you put them in a wild, saw this picture of a lion in freedom out in the wild, and it was a little skinny. It's a little skinny. Then there was a lion in captivity in the zoo, and it was plush. And some people would say to themselves, "Man, I'd rather be that lion in the zoo. I'm well fed. I'm groomed. I get to chill out in this nice space. I got AC." But I'd rather be that lion out in the wild, fending for my own meals. I don't want to depend on others and their generosity. And if something happens to the zoo, I'm going down too. I'm in Oklahoma. If a tornado comes and knocks out the zoo, what's going to happen? See, I don't want to depend on others' generosity and really be caged. And in the same way, I don't want to be in rooms that attempt to make me think, "Oh, the zoo is perfect. You're good." When really my heart is out for the wild, for freedom, for exploration and adventure. Your dream isn't too big, your room is too small. And so this is why I want to highlight why rooms matter. You see, rooms shape reach. Rooms set normal. Rooms either stretch you or shrink you. Jim Rohn would say you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If everyone around you is playing it safe, you start to feel a little bit rebellious to dream boldly. If everyone around you is in a W-2 and they're working and they're clocking in 9 to 5 and they're living for the weekend, meaning they can't wait to get to Friday. Thank God it's Friday, and they're celebrating Thursday as Friday Eve, and they get up and it's Sunday and they don't want to make it to work on Monday. I mean, what kind of life is that? Living for the weekends. I want to live throughout the week too. And if you're in those rooms and you start to say to yourself, man, I want to enjoy not just Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning, dreading work starting Sunday night. I want to enjoy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday also. You got to step into bigger rooms. Rooms where suddenly people are taking their kids to the zoo on a Tuesday afternoon while everyone else is either at work they're at work, their kids are either at school or at daycare because they got to be at work to make the money. I know you probably are saying this up, man, I can never imagine going to the zoo on a Tuesday. I got to do it during the weekend when everybody else is there. Exactly. You're in a small room. When it's crazy to you to be able to live life with your family, you're in a small room. So many people are living life with their families, not just in the evenings, not just on the weekends, but during the weekday. When you're in a bigger room, suddenly the dreams you start to draft up don't feel crazy, they feel possible. You heard that? Possible. In my own life, I've walked into rooms where $100,000 a month businesses were normal. Building real estate empires were expected, not rare. Marriage, fatherhood, faith were prioritized, not sacrificed. James Clear said this: environment is the invisible hand that shapes behavior. Wow. What rooms are you in that are shaping your behavior without you even knowing it, without you even realizing it? Influence it's deeply formative in ways we will probably never understand. You got to get in bigger rooms, and that's the last thing I want to talk about here. One of the last things you got to. So how do you start doing that? Well, in some ways, you got to start having conversations with people you're in rooms with currently and find out, do they even have the capacity to dream big? Now, I'm not insulting them. What I mean is, can they start thinking big? Can you help them start thinking big? You've you should read the book Who Moved My Cheese. Great book. Basically, there's cheese in this maze, and there are mouses that always know where the cheese is. One day, the mouse, they get to the place where the cheese used to be, and it's not there anymore. It's been moved. Some of the mouses, they just decide, oh, I'm gonna die. Like, who moved my cheese? I don't know where it's gone. The cheese is always there. And one of them say, oh well, we gotta keep searching in the maze. It's somewhere. We gotta keep looking. We gotta go. And one's saying, no, my cheese is always here. This is where I'm saying. Sometimes things happen in life, and you get to decide whether you will grow or whether you will shrink. Whether you will rise to the challenge or whether you will fall because of the wave that stands before you. And if you're in a room with people who say, the cheese was always right here. I always had my W-2 job. I don't know why they're firing me. I always did this way. I don't know why things are changing. In some ways, you got to get into another room. Another way you can get into another room is by paying to be in the room. Coaching, conferences, masterminds. Don't flinch at the cost, flinch at staying stuck. I paid $9,800 to get into the sub 2. Highest ticket price I've ever paid up until that point. And I've made 10 times that return. 10 times so far, monetary wise. I can't even begin to explain to you the return in investment in mindset, in networking. I can't quantify that for you. I can't say the networking I've done and the mindset shifts I've made have equated to X amount of dollars. I just can't, because it's something that's going to stay with me the rest of my life. You got to pay to get in the room. Hermazi said this: if you don't pay, you don't pay attention. Isn't that so true? You tend to kind of start paying attention to things you pay for. So I spent money on this. I'm watching this. I spent money for this degree. I'm paying attention in this classroom. You got to pay to be in the room. The other thing you want to realize is you got to go where your next level is normal. You want to start to get into real estate? Go where people are doing deals. Even if it's 4 deals a year, it's more than what you're doing. Go where the next level is normal. People get up and they work out every day. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I want to start doing that. Be the less experienced in the room. This is underrated. You got to be able to receive, be humble enough to be poured into, be wise enough to learn. You got to be getting into those rooms ready to receive and learn. So here's my challenge for you. I know your friends, your old circles will say you've changed, you're too ambitious, don't forget where you came from. But here's the thing. I'm not forgetting where I came from. I just refuse to stay there. I've not forgotten where I've come from. I just refuse to stay there. I want to get to the next level. I want to build something for my family. I want to leave a legacy behind. I want to make an impact and have influence. I want to be able to give to some Christian organizations I believe in more than I can now. And so that dream requires more faith, more discipline, more vision, and another room. And so don't downsize your dream to fit your current environment. Upgrade your environment to match your dream. And so if you're stirred, I want you to do 2 things for me. Send it to someone, send this episode to someone who needs a bigger room. And put in the comments what your big dream is and what kind of room you know you need to step into. Until next time, stop settling for safe and step into the space that requires you to grow and demands more of you, and go on building brick by brick.